Welcome back. So you've seen the incredible progress in multimodal LLM agents, these AI models, combining vision and language, right? They can see interfaces, understand instructions.
Yeah, it's amazing stuff. They're starting to automate tasks online, things that, well, seemed like science fiction just a couple of years back.
But here's the kicker. Ask one to do something really practical, something high value like, logging into your bank account or maybe buying something online.
Uh-huh.
They often just stop, hit a complete wall.
And that wall, 9 times out of 10, maybe more, it's a CAPTCHA. Those prove you're human puzzles.
Exactly. Designed to stop bots, sure. But they're also stopping these really sophisticated agents from doing useful things on important websites.
It's this big, kind of unexpected roadblock for them, especially where security is tight.
What's really wild is how we currently test these agents. Even the advanced benchmarks, like Visual Web Arena, which is supposed to test web navigation.
But they often just avoid the problem.
Right. They filter out pages with CAPTCHAs. It's like saying, okay, this agent is great at navigating the web, except for these really common bits designed to check if you're a bot.
Which leaves this, well, almost comical gap in understanding how ready they actually are for the real, messy internet.
Okay, so this is exactly where our source material for today's deep dive comes in. It's a really interesting paper proposing something called Open CaptchaWorld.
And this is the first benchmark, they claim, specifically built for the web to test how well these multimodal agents can handle interactive CAPTCHAs.
Right, let's dig into this, because our mission here is to really unpack this paper, understand this new benchmark, see how it tests these agents in a, well, more realistic way.
And crucially, what the results tell us. What are the limits of today's best agents when they face these common human verification hurdles?
So the problem, as you said, isn't minor. It's fundamental, even for the top-tier models. Your OpenIO 3, Claude 3.7 Sonnet, Gemini 2.5 Pro.
You'd think with all their visual processing power, they could just look at the puzzle and boom, solve it.
But CapTTH, especially modern ones, are way more complex than just looking at a static picture.
That's the key thing. It's not just object recognition. They are interactive.
Yeah, interactive. You often have to do a sequence of things, click these specific images, maybe drag a puzzle piece, slide something.
Which requires dynamic reasoning, multi-step reasoning. The agent has to look, understand the goal, plan the steps, do the steps, and then react to how the page changes.
Right. And that's so different from how CAPTCH solving used to be approached.
Totally. Traditional methods mostly treated them like static perception problems. Feed the image into a classifier. Done.
But that misses the whole interactive loop, doesn't it? Perceive, decide, act, see the result, repeat.
Exactly. That loop, the perception action loop in a dynamic web setting, is where these MLM agents should be good, theoretically. But it's also where CAPTCHAs really expose their current weaknesses.
And because the other benchmarks just skipped these, we didn't have a standard way until now to really measure if these agents can reason and act through these complex visual web tasks like a person would.
That's the gap Open CaptchaWorld aims to fill. The paper makes a big point that it's the first web-based benchmark focusing specifically on interactive multimodal agents tackling a whole range of modern CAPTCHAs.
And it's not a small test set either. They mentioned, 20 different types of modern CAPTCHAs?
Yeah, 20 types adding up to 225 unique puzzles. And they're designed to be, tricky for machines, but fairly straightforward for humans.
The setup sounds pretty realistic, too. It's all tested in a real browser environment, right?
Yes, exactly. The agent gets screenshots, has to figure out what to do, and then sends back actions like clicks or key presses. It's meant to mimic how you or I would actually browse.
That real browser loop detail feels really important. It means dealing with timing, page loads, maybe slight UI shifts, all the real-world stuff.
And the images themselves, they're either drawn by humans or generated using GPT-4o, so it's not just repetitive patterns that could be easily learned.
It sounds like the whole philosophy is different here. Instead of seeing CAPTCHAs as an annoyance to filter out,
they embrace them. They see them as essential obstacles. If an agent is going to be truly autonomous online, it has to handle these things. They're part of the test, a core challenge.
Okay, so to understand why some puzzles are harder, the paper introduces this new metric, CAPTCHA reasoning depth. What's that about?
It's a neat idea. They define it as basically a way to count the number of cognitive and motor steps a human usually takes to solve a puzzle.
So how many thinking steps and how many action steps?
Kind of. The goal is to measure complexity based on the process needed, not just the task type itself. something that applies to both people and AI agents.
Okay, give me an example.
Well, the paper uses the click on the fox puzzle. For a human, that's maybe two main steps. Step 1, visually find the fox. Step 2, click on it, so reasoning depth of 2.
Simple enough.
Right. But contrast that with, say, a drag and drop jigsaw puzzle. You have to identify multiple pieces, figure out where they go spatially, plan the sequence of moves, and perform precise drags for each one.
Much more involved. Higher depth.
Exactly. More planning, more sequencing, more fine-grained actions. That pushes the reasoning depth way up.
They actually tested this with people.
They did. They had human participants solve the puzzles and sort of talk through their steps. Based on that, they estimated the average human reasoning depth across the whole benchmark is around 2.94.
Okay.
And importantly, it had a standard deviation of almost 1, which tells you the benchmark has a good mix, some really simple puzzles, some much more complex ones requiring more steps.
Now, here's where it gets really fascinating, I thought. When they asked the models to estimate their own reasoning depth.
Yeah, this was surprising. The models consistently estimated a much higher reasoning depth than humans for the exact same puzzles.
How much higher?
Significantly. OpenIO3, which was the best model overall, averaged about 5.05 steps. Gemini 2.5 Pro was around 4.15. Compare that to the human average of just under 3.
Wow. So why? Why do the models think it's so much more complicated?
The paper digs into this. The analysis suggests models tend to, well, overthink it. They break tasks down into way more tiny, literal, granular steps than a human does.
Like what?
Like instead of just intuitively clicking, a model might explicitly list steps like recognize icon A, recognize icon B, memorize the instruction, locate the target area, move cursor, click, confirm feedback, things we just do.
Ah, okay. So humans rely more on holistic understanding, intuition.
Exactly. We use years of experience interacting with interfaces and the world. We group low-level actions into bigger, goal-directed steps. Click the fox, drag the piece.
Yeah.
Models don't seem to have that yet.
They lack that abstraction ability. They treat every little detail and instruction as equally important, maybe.
That seems to be the idea, which inflates their perceived complexity and step count. And this difference in how they approach these tasks is really a core finding.
And you can really see the impact of this difference when you look at the actual performance results on Open CaptchaWorld. The gap is pretty big.
It's stark, yeah. Humans, the participants in their study, they breeze through achieving like a 93.3% success rate. Near perfect.
Okay. And the best AI.
The best model they tested, OpenIO3, only managed a 40.0% success rate.
40% compared to over 90.
Ouch. Right. And the next best, like GPT 4.1 and Gemini 2.5 Pro, were even lower, down at 25.0%. Others were way down, between 5% and 20%.
So even the absolute state-of-the-art is more than 50 percentage points behind humans on these interactive puzzles. That's sobering.
It really provides strong evidence that while these agents are incredibly powerful in many ways, they are just not near human level yet for these kinds of multi-step, interactive visual reasoning challenges you find all over the web.
Did they mention cost at all? Does spending more get you better CAPTCHA solving?
They did touch on that. Interestingly, performance didn't neatly correlate with cost. Some expensive models did poorly, while some relatively cheaper ones were, well, still not great, but maybe more cost-effective per attempt. Getting agents that are both capable and affordable for this kind of web automation is still a big challenge.
If you look at which CAPTCHAs the models did okay on, does that tell us anything?
Yeah, the paper breaks that down too. Mostly, the models did best on tasks that lean heavily on basic visual perception. Identifying objects.
Like click all the bikes or match these icons.
Exactly. Things like image recognition, image matching, object match, select animal. Those saw the most success across different models.
And the best model, OpenIO3. Did it do better on anything else?
It showed a slightly broader capability. It could sometimes handle tasks needing simple arithmetic, like counting darts in an image, or basic spatial stuff, like matching rotated shapes or selecting patches.
But still, not great success rates even there.
No, still quite low compared to humans. And then there's the really telling part. The list of tasks that none of the models could solve. Not even once.
Okay, what kinds of things are completely stumping them?
It's quite a list. Things like counting dice faces, clicking specific geometric points, solving slide puzzles, dealing with coordinate systems, finding paths, placing a dot precisely on a line,
Wow.
connecting icons, clicking things in a specific order, avoiding misleading clicks, drawing a box around an area. Zero success across the board for all models tested.
That really highlights the limits. It seems like
Right.
anything requiring fine-grained control, complex sequencing, dynamic planning, or really subtle visual understanding is just out of reach right now.
And the paper gives some great examples of why they fail, looking specifically at OpenIO3's mistakes.
Like what kind of failures?
Well, one common pattern is insufficient visual precision or spatial understanding, even when the model seems to know the goal, like the place dot task. The model understands it needs to put a dot at the end of a line, but it consistently clicks slightly off, maybe near the middle. It gets the strategy, but fails the visual motor execution.
Almost like it has shaky hands, digitally speaking.
Kind of. Another pattern is failing at complex fine-grained operations, even if it understands the concept. The slide puzzle is a good case.
Right, jigsaws are hard.
The model might know it needs to arrange the pieces, but actually performing the precise drag and drops, getting that pixel-perfect alignment, it struggles with the mechanics, knows the what, fails the intricate how.
And there was a third failure type.
Yeah, and this one is maybe the most concerning misguided strategies, where the model latches onto completely irrelevant information.
How so?
In one task requiring visual matching, object match, the model sometimes just ignored the images entirely. It tried to solve it by analyzing things like the image file names in the HTML or surrounding text.
Seriously, that's not cool.
Not at all. It gets distracted by the wrong cues, leading to guaranteed failure. It highlights a lack of robust reasoning.
So, wrapping this up, Open CaptchaWorld seems like a really crucial piece of work. It confronts this common web hurdle head on.
Instead of avoiding it, yeah. And in doing so, it really exposes a significant, maybe overlooked limitation in current MLLM agents when it comes to interactive, multi-step visual reasoning, the kind you need constantly online.
The huge performance gap they found, that difference in reasoning depth, the specific failure patterns, it all gives us very concrete clues about why these agents are struggling.
It's clearly more than just seeing. It's about understanding dynamics, planning sequences, acting precisely, and having that human-like intuition, that ability to not get bogged down in every tiny detail.
It definitely feels like this benchmark is vital. It's a diagnostic tool, sure, but also a target. It helps guide development towards agents that can actually handle the real web.
Absolutely. Agents that are more robust, more aligned with how humans interact, and capable of achieving genuine autonomy, CAPTCHAs included.
It really underscores how far we still have to go to get AI navigating the web truly like a human. Which leaves me thinking, given how much these models seem to overthink compared to our intuition, what are the fundamental breakthroughs needed? Is it about the AI architecture, different training approaches, how we represent knowledge? What will it take to give models that effortless abstract reasoning that lets us solve these puzzles while they're still counting every pixel?